All right, you know what time it is? It's time to take a look at some discussion posts and do an update on the discussion post contest. Wow, I realized that you can actually see the microphone. I'm actually working at Bryan University today, and as you can see my fancy microphone that I have for when I work here. So let's start off by taking a look at these discussion posts, and I'm going to take a look at a couple of your first posts, so where you're responding to the questions, and then take a look at a couple of the responses to other students that you wrote. I realize that in the past I haven't focused on those very much, but those are just as important when it comes to having a good conversation in those discussion posts. So starting off with a couple of the initial posts that I felt really captured what you got out of the story really well. The first one is from Cynthia in A3, and she was reading Janet Jane's The Blessings of Step, and is talking about what it's like to be a stepdaughter. I will say it was hard with my stepmother, partly because I look so much like my mother. However, over the years, our relationship grew, and I'm very proud to call her one of my mothers. She passed away coming up 5 years ago. Never in my life have I been so thankful to have made peace with someone and to have forgiven each other for our behaviors several years before she passed away. Over the years we had growing pains, but I know to this day that I can count on my stepfather, and he would lay his life down for me, give anything and everything he has for me, just as he would his biological child. I really like that one because I feel like she really drew out how she connected with the story that she read. And I always, enjoy stories the most when I in some way connect to what they're about. This is from Chris, also in A3, and he got a lot out of a story that's not really something he's gone through. The story is called Fighting for Motherland by Suzanne Monas. Chris says, I normally would not have chosen an essay like this one. My first thought was, I've already witnessed my wife birthing 3 children. There's no need for me to read about someone else's. Little did I know, though, that I would have been truly enlightened by what I read. The author speaks about how closely going to war and giving birth is. When a woman gives birth, she selflessly gives up her body and life to make sure that another human life has a chance. I don't think I ever realized until now what my wife and other women go through just to bring new life into this world. I always saw it as magical, but yet to realize the sacrifice and pain makes me appreciate my wife just a little bit more. So good going with reading something a little bit out of your usual zone, Chris, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. So the next two, these are responses to other students' posts. And this first one is from Carrie in T2. I have found that some stories speak to me, whereas others are a little too ordinary. I like to read more inspiring stories that I can relate to, or include some kind of struggle to improve one's life. Although, when I found my second essay to write about, the author did make some good inspirational points that I did not expect from the title and description of his story. What I've learned from this assignment is that no matter how little the step is that a person takes, its impact in their life may be larger than we can understand. I really like that last point that Carrie makes about how sometimes these seem like they're little steps, but they can have a big impact on the person. And that's really something that brings together a whole lot of these stories that we're reading about this week. So I think she did a really good job of sort of bringing it all together. And then this last one is from John from T2. And wanted to end on this because we're coming up closer to Thanksgiving, and it's kind of funny what he has to say. He's responding to the other student's story, which they read, which was My Life Among the Cows, I believe is what the title was. He says, I have no interest in cows either, but my parents own a hobby farm in California and raise them hormone-free. My parents even have names for the cows. Anyway, I will be eating them when I visit for Thanksgiving this month. Now, I don't know how I feel about eating a cow that already has a name and has a personality and all that stuff, but go for it, John. Sounds like a fun Thanksgiving out there among the cows. So, the contest. We actually have someone who is pulling into a little bit more of a lead now. So, here is my artistic and awesome chart. A3 team is at 33%. T2 team, 36%. So T2 now has a 3% lead over you guys in A3, which is still a small enough lead that it could be overcome in just a week, and there are 2 weeks left. But that is a more decisive lead than they've had so far in the past. This last week, A3 has kept steady with the amount of posts they're getting in. They're still getting in 50% of what they need to get in. T2 pulled that number up a little bit and are getting in about 60% of what they need to get in. So that's starting to pay off in the percentages. But there's still time. It still could go either way. So I look forward to seeing how this goes in week 4. So I hope everybody's having a good week 4 and that they're getting their discussion posts in. And I look forward to seeing you guys in another update next week.